Cladding, a term Subaru coined for ruggedness. I tested its durability on the trail and came back home with a missing fog light bezel. I consider it chinsy if you ask me. So I jumped on Pixie-Pro on my Samsung Galaxy Note. I came up with a concept of giving the Crosstrek a functional cut. Not a Viper cut, functional cut. A quote-unquote functional cut for a Subaru involves cutting the lower half of the front bumper and modifying it to increase approach angle. With an angle grinder, painter's tape, and a keen eye for lines, not only did I develop an aggressive look on the front end of the Crosstrek, I significantly increased its limits. I wish Subaru could give us the option to remove parts of the bumper for the trails and then reinstall it as we head back to civilization. But I'm just preaching to the choir, as much as people are asking for more power out of these things. With a functional cut, it has increased my confidence to where I can drive over almost anything. There's no way a stock bumper Crosstrek could even attempt to enter this obstacle without dropping any plastic. Functional cuts are the way to go. Add some longer travel suspension, larger tires, and a rear locker, and you got yourself a formidable machine that could give some modded Toyotas a run for their money. However, the caveat to having increased capabilities is getting into more trouble. This is a Jeep/Toyota trail where no other Subaru has gone, and where I have broken plastic and bent my pinch welds. On this particular trail, Toyotas have snapped axles and Jeeps have laid on their sides. But that didn't stop me from exploring the limits and the trails with my Subaru. Even with everyone's favorite continuously variable transmission, keep an eye out for future video uploads on how to maintain your engine and transmission temps, whether you're on or off the trail with this type of vehicle configuration. I recently installed Asphere skid plates. They increase ground clearance, protection, and approach angle. And quite frankly, I can't escape the fact that the Crosstrek has such a long nose, even with my exposed tires and bumper cut. I can only go so far until I get stuck, and if and when that happens, I'll definitely need a winch. You remember Sly from the Rock Slider video, right? Here he's rocking an F44 bumper, which I also wanted. I was put on 2 wait lists. Nothing happened. He was growing tired of it because everyone and their brother started to get one. So we started looking to other manufacturers to make us a hybrid bumper. Around the same time frame we were looking for rock sliders. We both jumped on our Photoshop programs and started slapping C4 bumpers on our cars and coming up with different types of concepts. We shared our ideas and inputs, then Sly initiated a partnership with Full Force Metalworks. Matt originally manufactured aluminum bumpers. However, he took his core design and converted it to steel. That same weekend that Sly went in for sliders was also followed by building and fitting the hybrid bumper prototype. Needless to say, the bumper met our expectations. The idea behind the Full Force Metalworks bumper is strength, durability, versatility, aggressiveness, and ruggedness. Most important of all, made in the USA. What I have is a version 2 bumper with full-size bull bars. It's made from all steel, 1.5-inch tubing, and 3/16-inch plates. 1-inch thick 3/4 shackle mounts welded in and out for maximum strength. Mounting holes for 4,500 to 9,000 pound winches, and abundance for mounting solutions for lights. Skeletonized cuts throughout for weight reduction, 2 high-lift jack points, and a full-size fair lead mount. The front end is angled for increased approach angle with the laser-cut Full Force Metalworks logo. I opted for a front grille that allows me to mount my Dynamics Amber light bar. Being that it's made to order, you have the choice of choosing different plates for different needs, including your fair lead. Prior to the install, I recommend taking the time to mount all your center accessories, including your light bar and your winch. Once the bumper is mounted, it might be difficult to access hardware mounting points. First step is to remove the bumper cover. Because of my functional cut, I'm no longer required to remove the 5 million pop clips and plastic bracket at the bottom. However, the top remains the same. Once the bottom is undone, you can access the fog light connectors. Disconnect them at this time. Work your way up in front of the tire. There's these 2 pop clips on either side. Push the pin in the center using a pry tool. Pry the whole thing out and repeat the step for the other side. Unlatch your hood and you'll find 6 10mm bolts and 2 pop clips. Remove as necessary. Here's a trick of the trade for removing pop clips. Grab a pry tool, pop the center out, pull the whole assembly halfway, push the center down, pull the whole thing out completely. At this point, you can remove your plastic bumper cover starting from the sides, the front, and then lift it off from the top. Next step is to remove the OEM bumper beam. There are 8 bolts, 4 on each side. Once the beam is off, this is a good opportunity to make adjustments and add modifications. In my case, I added a large CVT fan, rerouted some oil lines, and extended some connectors for lights. With the winch and accessories installed, the Full Force Metalworks bumper weighs approximately 100 pounds. I'm using a jack to lift it up, while my naked son is there to help me align the bumper to the chassis. With the weight supported, install the 8 13mm bolts starting by hand and then tighten to 27 foot-pounds. As far as cutting the bumper, I have no specific method on how to do it. I basically went by eye based on Sly's build, to be honest. I used the same tools as last time, angle grinder, razor blade, and some painter's tape. I cut little by little, making sure the angles are correct, especially at the front and the sides where the fender meets the bumper. Just take your time, the bumper is going to be on and off numerous times until you get it right. This is what I ended up with. As you can see, it's almost reduced down to nothing. Also, my cuts weren't the best. You can use this rubber U-channel that I got from Amazon. Link in the description below. After 30 minutes of going back and forth, I finally finished it, and here's how it looks. I installed my Dial Dynamics pods, but I still have to wire my winch up. I went with a Super ATV 6,000 pound Black Ops winch. Check how close it is next to the CVT fan. When cutting your bumper, you need to look at a couple things. One is your windshield washer reservoir. I also attached a link in the description below. Transfer the 2 pumps and level sensor onto this small reservoir and mount it between the battery and the driver's side headlight. On a side note, you're going to have to cut your front fender liner to match the contour of your hybrid bumper. On the opposite side, you're going to bend the passenger horn horizontally to make clearance. Also, the resonator from the OEM intake needs to be removed or plugged. In my case, I got an aftermarket intake. Once everything is complete, reinstall the 6 10mm bolts and 2 pop clips to the top of the bumper cover. If you're enjoying the video so far, take the time to hit the like button, share this with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more updates. What really stood out to me was the fact that both the asphalt skid plate and the bumper absolutely complement each other. Oh, and one more thing, there's no pop clip there at the back, so I came up with using a Quik-Latch, which is toolless and much easier to remove than the OEM fasteners. It's basically a ball lock with a jam nut on the back side, and the ball post interfaces with the ball lock just by pressing it in, and you can release it by pressing a button and it'll pop out. I removed an existing 10mm bolt at the headlight housing and conveniently replaced it with a ball post. And this concludes my installation of the Full Force Metalworks hybrid bumper. On the next episode, we'll be taking it to the trail for some testing. Thanks for watching, see you on the next one.